Welcome to A to Z Tales. Have you ever studied for hours and then forgotten everything the next day? You sit with your book open, highlight important lines, read again and again, but when the exam comes, your mind goes blank. Now imagine this. You study for just 10 minutes a day and you remember everything, not for one day, not for 1 week, but forever. Sounds impossible, right? But in Japan, students have been using a special method for years. A method that helps them remember anything they learn, no matter how difficult it is. This method is called active recall. And today, you'll discover exactly how it works in this Learn English with story and how you can use it too. Emma was an English student living in Tokyo. She loved Japanese culture, the language, the food, the discipline. But when it came to learning, she had one big problem. She always forgot what she studied. Every evening, she sat at her desk, reading pages and pages of her Japanese vocabulary book. She highlighted new words, underlined grammar rules, and even copied sentences again and again. But the next day, nothing. She couldn't remember even half of what she had read. One day, her Japanese friend Hiroshi noticed her frustration. "Emma," he said gently, "you study too much but remember too little. Want to learn the Japanese way?" "The Japanese way?" she asked, confused. "Yes," Hiroshi smiled. "It's called active recall. It's how we train our memory every day." Hiroshi took Emma to a small study cafe near their school. Inside, she saw students sitting quietly, not reading but talking. Some were whispering to themselves, others were flipping cards, and one girl was closing her eyes and repeating words out loud. "They're not reading?" Emma asked, surprised. "No," Hiroshi said. "They're recalling. They are testing their memory." He explained, "Active recall means you try to remember information without looking at it. You ask your brain questions and make it work hard to find the answer." Emma frowned. "But how does that help?" Hiroshi smiled again. "When you struggle to remember something, your brain builds stronger connections. It's like exercising your memory muscles." Example: passive versus active learning. Passive learning. You read a page again and again. It feels easy, but your brain doesn't need to work. Active recall. You close the book and ask yourself, "What did I just read?" Your brain starts searching for the answer, and that effort helps you remember. Active recall, Hiroshi said, is learning by remembering, not by rereading. Hiroshi showed Emma how Japanese students use this method every day. He pulled a small box from his bag. It was full of colorful flashcards. Each card had a word on one side and its meaning on the other. "Every morning," he said, "I test myself. I look at the front of the card and try to say the answer before I flip it." Emma picked one up. Front: shiberu, taberu. Back: to eat. She smiled. "So simple." "Yes," Hiroshi said, "but powerful. When you try to recall something before checking, your brain strengthens that memory. The more times you recall it, the longer you remember it." Researchers have found that every time you recall a memory, it becomes stronger. Every time you read without testing, it becomes weaker. So if you test yourself 5 times on the same word over a few days, you'll remember it for months or even years. That's why Japanese students rely on active recall not just for language learning, but for everything: math, science, history, even driving tests. That night, Emma decided to try the method. She took 10 new Japanese words from her textbook and wrote them on flashcards. On one side, she wrote the Japanese word. On the other, she wrote the English meaning. Then she shuffled the cards, looked at each one, and tried to recall the meaning without looking at the back. At first, it was hard. She couldn't remember half of them. But instead of getting upset, she smiled because she remembered what Hiroshi said. The harder it feels, the more your brain learns. So she kept practicing. Every morning, Emma spent just 10 minutes testing herself with flashcards. She didn't read for hours anymore. She simply recalled, over and over. After 1 week, something amazing happened. She started remembering the words easily, not just the meaning, but also the spelling and pronunciation. After 1 month, she could recall over 500 Japanese words. Her classmates were shocked. "Emma, how do you remember everything?" they asked. She just smiled and said, "The Japanese way. Active recall works because it changes how your brain stores information. When you try to recall something, your brain searches deep inside for the answer. That search process creates strong neural pathways, like strong bridges connecting one idea to another. Every time you test yourself, those bridges become stronger and easier to cross. It's the same as building a muscle. The more you lift, the stronger it gets. The more you recall, the faster you remember." Many learners fear forgetting. But in Japan, students welcome it. They know that when you almost forget something and then recall it again, your memory becomes even stronger. This is called desirable difficulty, making your brain work just a little harder so learning lasts longer. So don't worry if you forget today. It only means your next recall will make your memory stronger tomorrow. After 2 weeks, Hiroshi introduced Emma to another idea: spaced repetition. "It's part of active recall," he said. "We don't review everything every day. We review it at the right time, just before we forget it." He showed Emma his notebook. Day 1, learn 10 new words. Day 2, review yesterday's words. Day 4, review again. Day 7, review again. Day 14, review once more. "This way," Hiroshi said, "you save time and remember longer." Emma followed the plan. She found that she could study less, but remember more. It felt like magic, but it was science. One day, Hiroshi asked, "Emma, how do you remember a movie you watched last month?" Emma thought for a moment. "Because I talked about it with my friends," she said. "Exactly," Hiroshi said. "That's also active recall. When you tell a story, you recall it in your own words. That's why Japanese students also use storytelling." So Emma began another method. After reading an English story, she closed the book and told the story again using simple English. Sometimes she recorded herself, listened again, and corrected mistakes. She noticed that her speaking improved. Her vocabulary became natural and her confidence grew. Then she began to teach small lessons to her classmates. Teaching, she learned, is the highest form of active recall because it forces your brain to remember and explain clearly. 3 months later, it was exam day. Emma looked calm, confident, and focused. While other students looked nervous, flipping through notes, Emma sat quietly with her flashcards, just testing herself once more. When the results came, Emma was at the top of the class. Her teacher smiled. "Emma, what's your secret?" She replied simply, "Active recall. It's not about studying harder. It's about remembering smarter." You don't need to live in Japan to use this method. You can start right now, tonight, with just a notebook and pen. Here's how. Step 1. Learn something new. Read or watch something short, maybe 5 new English words or a short story. Step 2. Close the book without looking. Ask yourself, what did I just read? Can I remember all the points? Step 3. Test yourself. Write down or say the answers aloud. If you forget, open the book and check, then close it again and try once more. Step 4. Review with spaced repetition. Review after 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, and 14 days. Each review will take less time because your memory will get stronger. You can use this method for anything. Learning English, test yourself on new words, grammar, or phrases. Studying science or history. Ask yourself questions like, why did this happen? Or how does this work? Preparing for exams. Close your notes and explain the topic out loud as if you were teaching someone. Learning from videos. After watching, pause and say, what did I just learn? Every time you recall, your memory grows sharper, like a sword that gets stronger with every use. In Japan, learning isn't about long hours, it's about deep focus. Students often use short, intense sessions where they test, recall, and rest. For example, 25 minutes of studying, 5 minutes of testing, 10 minutes of break. This keeps the brain fresh and active. Hiroshi told Emma, "We don't fear forgetting. We fear not testing." Months later, Emma returned home to England. She began teaching English learners her new secret, the Japanese method of active recall. Her students were amazed. They started remembering vocabulary faster than ever before. And every time one of them said, "I can't remember this word," Emma smiled and said, "Close your book. Ask your brain. You already know it. You just need to recall it. Now it's your turn. Think about something you learned today, maybe from this story. Write your answer in the comments or say it aloud. The more you recall, the more you remember. Don't wait until tomorrow. Try the Japanese method tonight for just 10 minutes. Take 5 new words, test yourself, and see what happens by morning. You'll be surprised at how much your brain can do when you teach it the art of active recall. Try this tonight and see the difference by morning. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video to support us. Subscribe to our channel AZ Tales for more Learn English through stories. Click the bell icon so you don't miss our next motivational story.